Hey YouTube, how you doing? Kevin here. I got some cool stuff to show you. Okay, so the pipe came in, the exhaust. I've actually already started cutting it up. I gotta cut some welds. I gotta shave and grind, and then this is the silencer right here. That was up top like that. This is for a scooter. This is for a Honda ZX50. The 50s, the 80s, and the 100. That's pretty much the perfect size for it. So I went with that. This is a low output motor, so I think I can get more output with the small one than I could the big giant one. Just because I'm not putting that much through it, so I think this is going to work out just fine. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys about being robbed. I don't know if you guys like being robbed. I don't like being robbed. I hate it when people get robbed. And I want to show you guys this because each and every one of you guys who owns a Ke100 is getting robbed. Robbed of horsepower and torque. Okay? You may notice this big giant dent here. All of them have this dent. Yours has it. Mine has it. They all have it. And you also have these two little dents right here. And for they call for clearance, but there's nothing to be clearance about. Anyway, then you see these three spot welds. And you probably wonder what the hell are those for. And there's three more underneath all this dirt. There's three here, and that's that. So, I cut the muffler in half to show you because this whole thing is not an expansion chamber. Yep, I said it. You are robbed. Up to about here, from here, that way is an expansion chamber. But with the dent is a restriction. The thickness of it, which is very tiny, is that's your expansion chamber. Guys, there is no power being made on this exhaust. Now a two-stroke gets a lot of horsepower and torque from its exhaust. A good expansion chamber can give you a lot of horsepower and a lot of torque. Make your bike perform like a brand new bike. Now I say this, I don't want you guys to think that this is going to perform like a KX100. It's not. Okay, the intake is really small, and these modifications that I'm doing to the bike, I'm looking for 15 to 20 horsepower, not on top of what's there, but in adjacent to. There's 11 horsepower there, and I'm going to get a ton of horsepower just from that expansion pipe. So anyway, we haven't even gotten the carburation. I haven't even ordered the carburetor yet. So anyway, I cut this in half so you guys can see where you guys are being robbed. And when I take this top off, you're going to be blown away by what's inside. And when I say restriction, I mean there is no horsepower gain with this factory exhaust. No matter what you do to your bike, you are not going to get any more power out of it because of this exhaust. You ever hear the terminology hitting a wall? Yep. I'm going to show you what that's about. We're going to talk about this one first. Okay. Now, basically, a two-stroke shares the intake and exhaust stroke together. Okay, they come through the chamber together. Well, not through the chamber together, but they come up through the transfer ports. The intake and fuel. So you got the air and fuel coming up through the transfer ports on top of the piston. At the same time, those chambers are open. The exhaust chamber is also open. So you have fuel, a fresh air fuel charge that also goes into your exhaust stream. A good exhaust is going to blow that back. So some people call it a sonic boom. Some people call it, shock waves or sonic waves or microwave, whatever type of wave you want to call it. Basically, in a nutshell, you ever see an explosion on TV and you see the clouds and they keep multiplying and it's like a plume? Okay, that's what happens basically in your exhaust. The exhaust is still in it's so hot, it's still in the process of expanding. So it comes up out of here and expands, compresses, and shocks back, blows back, however you want to call it. Hits this cone, and then it brings it back smoothly and knocks basically the fresh air and fuel mixture, or restricts it from coming out, and then it burns, and then the next cycle begins. Okay, that's what a good exhaust is going to do, and basically you lose a lot when you have a bad exhaust system. This right here is going to generate you horsepower and torque because of that. Now you might notice the size difference. Okay, This is basically, it basically starts up in here with the pipe. So I basically lined them up because the pipe is going to come up to here. Okay, so from here forward is your chamber. On this one here, the chamber stops right here. Okay, look how much is left. Okay, so we're going to put this back like this. There we go. Okay, so this is where your exhaust chamber stops. Right here under this cover, and I'm going to show you this in a minute. You're going to look like, what? And then, so from here to here is your expansion chamber. But it's really not an expansion chamber because right here is at its thinnest, and it's got a big giant dent in it. So you got a restriction here. So you people are being robbed. Now I'm going to remove this cover and blow you guys away by what's underneath it. See the rivets? 1, 2, 3. And there's some under here too. 1, 2. Anyway, without further ado, holy shit. That is what's inside your exhaust. If you guys can see that now, let me see if I can put some more light in the subject. I don't know if that helps or not. Okay, so let's talk about this. You ever remember when I said, have you ever heard the terminology of hitting a wall? Okay, this one right here, the plume of exhaust gases comes out and expands, then gets compressed, shocks back, holds the fuel and air back in there, bang, starts the next one, and then it shoots out the middle and into the silencer. This exhaust comes through your exhaust pipe, comes up through, hits the wall, next stroke, and it stacks it up until it builds up and does it that way. And it's a stack building, and then it comes out through the what do you call it, the silencer compartment. So you have your 2 silencer chambers right here, and then you have your tube that goes all the way through into here, and that's your silencer. It builds up with that soot, okay, and what this stuff is mesh. This mesh with glass packing on the back side of it, that right there is for sound deadening. Okay, that's why these bikes are so quiet. That's why you don't get that because that stops it. That stops it. You're gonna hear that when I put that on there. When I start this bike up, you're gonna get that from this bike, like you would a regular 2-stroke, like a regular dirt bike. So this stops all that. The exhaust comes up and slams into the wall, backs up, basically blocks itself up, and that's how it gets the fuel into there. 11 horsepower? Yeah, that's the only way you're gonna get 11 horsepower. If that thing was coned and had and it was round and didn't have this big giant dent here, you'd probably get more power out of it. Could you take the baffles out? Well, you got to cut the exhaust apart like this. You have to re-weld everything. No, you can't. This exhaust sucks. It's so long. You have to figure out what the exhaust output is. This thing is only a 49 cc, a 49 millimeter piston. Okay, see, you don't have a big piston like you would on a big, like a 125. Okay, this is about the size of an expansion chamber for a 125. However, it doesn't have these baffles. This Ke100 has the baffles because this is not a performance bike. This bike is designed to ride on the road or on dirt trails. That's it. Not heavy off-road stuff, not pits and stuff like that. People do it, but clearly it's not designed for it. So I would seriously suggest looking elsewhere for other exhaust systems. They don't make an exhaust system for this. I found the shape, the size, and the length I want right there on that one. And it's going to give me some more room on the bike. It's going to look better. Once this is all cleaned up, I'm even going to make a nice little heat shield for it. It'll basically have a diamond heat shield for that with the holes. It's going to look really cool. That's going to be painted black. It's not going to look like that color. Just because it's going to have a lot of flaws in it. Because you guys see spot welds right here. I have to grind that off. I have to make that thing smooth like the rest of it. Okay, I have to sand. This is, you can see the seam. That's the seam right there where they welded it. You technically wouldn't see that because it would be at the bottom of the bike. The part you would see the top would look like that, which is pretty badass, to be honest with you. But we're going to cut the weld here. Going to cut it so it fits over the pipe, and then it's going to be a nice exhaust chamber. And then shoot out. It's going to have a straight pipe coming out the back. We're going to do some plumbing, and we're not going to use this muffler. This is the muffler right here that came with the pipe. I don't think I'm going to use this one. I'm going to get myself a decent one. See how it's riveted together? That's a cheapie. Because you can rebuild these things. These have glass packing in them. So I think I might use one from a Ke100. I might use that pipe tip with this, or the one from the Suzuki 80, which would also work. But so that's it, guys. That's why you're being robbed. That's where all your horsepower is gone. And if you change that, you will get at least 2 to 3 more horsepower right out of the bike, right off the top of the line. Boom. Maybe even more. I'm hoping to get at least 5 to 6 out of that one. So, because I have to come up with what do you call it there? Well, to go from 11 to 15, it's only a 4 horsepower difference. I know that when I put that on there, I'm going to get that. I'm going to be at 15 just by changing that exhaust. So I think I'm going to up the ante and go for 20 horsepower since I'm already here. I know I'm going to get, what do you call it there? At least 3 to 4 out of this when I do the carburetor matched with that, the way I'm matching them, which I'm going to show you guys that when I get the carburetor. There's going to be a lot more horsepower generated. I also wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about something else. You guys ever hear the terminology, what you put in is what you get out of something? Okay. The intake horn, right here, the intake. This is, I think it's either 26 or 28, I forgot already. I think it's 28 millimeters. Anyway, you'll see how there's a restrictor in there. See right there, the ring goes around? It's restricted right there. You have at least 1/8 of an inch, not even, about 1/4 of an inch all the way around of restriction. Okay, for that intake. Look how small that air horn is in the front. What's an air horn, you might ask? This right here. That's called the air horn. That air horn, see how small it is? It's smaller in the front than in the back. There should be in the center of it a restriction to it, which is what the slide does. My new carburetor, although it's going to be the same output, you know, it'll be a wider diameter. It won't be as skinny, as small as that one, but it'll fit on the same intake. It's going to have a bigger air horn, and it's going to give you more air going through the motor, more fuel, and it's going to be able to, you know, basically up the air-fuel ratio going in and coming out. So if you're going to do your carburetor, you're going to want to do your exhaust. If you do your exhaust and you don't do your carburetor, it's not going to run right. You're going to have to rejet, all that type of stuff. But remember, these carburetors you're not going to get no performance out of. There's no way to performance these. They are what they are, and they suck. We are going to put a carburetor on here that's actually going to do something. The carburetor selected for this bike is based on the KX60 with a different style choke. So I already have that figured out which one I'm going to use, and when that carburetor part comes in, I will show you guys. So where I'm at right now is I'm locking up. This is an old muffler I had kicking around. What I'm in the process of doing right now is cleaning this thing up. I got to cut all the welds, clean it up really nice. We're going to use the part of the reason for cutting up this right here is because I'm going to use this part right here and cut it in a way with a strip, so I have these two mounts, and all that material will be gone, all this material will be gone, just be like a bar going across here to those two, and that's going to be my exhaust bracket. So I'm using part of this for an exhaust bracket to support that. I figured because I want to keep the same mounting, I can do it that way. And when I'm done with it, you won't see this. Like, it's not going to have all this. It's going to come up like this. It's going to be a small piece of steel, you know, this steel, and then it'll be, I might not need all of them. I might just need this one. So I want to weld this all up, MIG it all together, and that's what I'm using. I'm using a MIG welder. So I'm going to MIG it all up, and once it's all MIG'd, that's what they use to do all this. This is all MIG, not stick. A MIG weld is basically a wire welder, for those of you who not sure what that is. And my brother, who's a professional welder, is actually going to do the work for me. I'm going to assist him, show him how I want to do it. I'm going to mock it all up on the bike and go from there. But I wanted to do this video to show you guys how bad this exhaust is. Now, when you have all that mesh that's in there, that dead and stuff, that also affects the flow. Okay, well, that really all affects it. You can see right inside there, it's lined all the way down through. Look at that, huh? All the way down through. This whole thing is lined with this mesh. So there's a restriction right out there. You see the dent? You can see the dent in the top. When you put a dent in a flow, you actually increase the velocity, like the pressure. So it was one pressure coming out. Then you got the dent. That dent collapses a little bit and it increases the pressure in here. And then what? 3-4 inches, it hits a wall. And does what? There's no power made here. There is no power, no horsepower made at all. So to put a dent, I don't know, to speed up to hit the wall faster. I don't know what. It doesn't make any sense. This exhaust flow does not work for anything. I don't know what they were thinking. They're Japanese, for crying out loud. Come on, guys. You could think way better than that. So they lined it, insulated it, restricted it, and put a baffle up there with a, look at this. The hole is my finger diameter, my pointy finger. It doesn't even fit in it. So basically the whole hole right there is my finger diameter. Now you're probably saying to yourself, well, it's the same as that one. Yes, it is. It is. But the shape of the cone actually reverbs it back. This doesn't. It stacks it. So that's where your horsepower loss is. There's no cone to bring it up to that point. You see what I'm saying? To go out, it has to. It's gonna struggle to find it, and the pipe that fits in here. I wish I had one handy. It actually slides in, and the tube goes all the way through. So there's so much restriction here. Now you have the rest of the material in there. You don't have that with this. So there's a lot of restriction here. A lot. And it's negative restriction. It's not positive restriction. There's a big difference between positive restriction. A positive restriction is a restriction that'll actually generate power and torque. A negative restriction is a restriction that robs you of torque and horsepower. And this is that exhaust system, ladies and gentlemen, right here. So anyway, that's it for me. That's all I have for right now. So, what do you call it there? This is not the Ke100. This is just a KE exhaust video I'm doing. There will be a Ke102 exhaust on this one when I'm going through all that. I'm just cleaning up right now. I'm doing all the labor work. Basically, I'm just cutting off the welds and shaving them up and cleaning them up. But there's going to be a video on mocking it up and how it's going to work. But yeah, it's a pretty cool piece, and it's very, very light. The pipe weighs more than the muffler. Once I cut that off, this is gonna be weighed in ounces. It don't even weigh a pound. The whole thing was 5.4 pounds. This whole pipe right here is like 7 pounds. So there's a lot of what do you call it there? Weight difference. So the power to weight ratio, that right there is going to keep the fat lady nice and light. And take this boat anchor off. This thing's a boat anchor. If you want to stop your boat, you just throw that in the water and off you go. So anyway, that concludes my video, guys. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I hope you guys like it. I hope it opens your eyes to looking elsewhere for an exhaust system. Unfortunately, like I said, they don't make an exhaust system for this bike. They did. Hooker Headers made one. It was a small expansion chamber, and they didn't sell any of them. I mean, it's just how it is. They built it, and nobody bought it. Nobody high performances. They were the only ones, as far as I know, who built something for it. I mean, this bike. Think about it. It has electronic ignition, so there's no points float. I'm gonna get into what that means. Not on this video, but when I do my whole walk around on my bike, I'm gonna show you guys all the performance reasons why I did what I did and how I did what I did. But it's gonna have carburation, bored out, high compression head, exhaust system, and electronic ignition. I'm touching on 5 topics after I get the bike all done, the frame painted and all that type of stuff. This is going to be one badass bike. Owing a 52 sprocket with the acceleration, the horsepower increase. This thing's going to be pretty cool. Pretty cool. I even have a small one. I even have a small exhaust. Hold on one second. I'm going to put you guys down for a quick second. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So this pipe right here, this little silencer, this little expansion pipe, this is off a pocket rocket. See what I'm saying? There's no baffle. Cute little thing. It's off a little pocket rocket, 49cc. I think it had like 5 horsepower, something like that. A 49cc putting out more horsepower than a pocket rocket. Now mind you, more horsepower than a moped because of that expansion pipe. They're crazy. See the shape of it. It's the cone shape. Exhaust is right in the middle and there's your silencer. So, sorry. Tired. The silencers come in all different shapes. You see them on some of the newer dirt bikes where they start way down low and you got this big giant bubble and they cut, then it goes into this tiny little pipe. Now there's a reason for that. Those bikes have a lot of output. I mean, they spin way up to 13,000 RPMs. I mean, the bikes are screaming. So they can produce the amount of exhaust needed to use that style exhaust system, the exhaust pipe. The Ke100 does not. Sorry. Sorry for the yawning, guys. I'm just really tired for some reason. It's been a long day already. But, yeah, so these bikes don't produce that type of exhaust to warrant a pipe that big. So going for sufficient, right there. You saw the size of the intake port on the carburetor. There's really not much airflow going through it. We're increasing that with the carburetor and that muffler. So that's pretty much all I have. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. If you guys have any questions or comments, by all means, please send them my way. This has been a really awesome adventure with you guys, showing you guys stuff. That's why I cut this muffler in half. I knew what was in there because I've seen them before. I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to get some rest. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe.